What makes a good bow? After crafting tens of different bows from a variety of woods, here are my thoughts on the subject. An archer's preferences can vary greatly and strongly influence what a good bow means to each individual. However, I think we can all agree on a few key qualities. A good bow should be durable, fast, and accurate. So how can we recognize these features when looking at a traditional bow? A durable bow, when properly cared for, can serve well for many years with only minimal signs of wear. Of course, it is natural and inevitable for wooden bows to lose some of their performance over time, but a well-made bow can retain its shape for a surprisingly long period. The key feature that determines a bow's longevity is the tiller. It is the side profile of a bow while it is bending, and it should be even along the entire length that is designed to work. Some bows are meant to bend along their whole length, such as the English longbow, while others have long, stiff-limbed sections, like the mulligabed bow. This depends strongly on the specific design. When judging the tiller, you should consider all the curves visible in the unstrung profile of the bow, as every wave and irregularity on the surface influences how the bow bends at draw. When there is a spot on the bow where the wood bends significantly more than the rest of the limb, the imbalance will continue to increase, eventually leading to failure and breaking the bow. Such irregularities are not always easy to spot, especially for beginning archers or bowyers, but they matter a great deal. The common signs of weak spots are creases, tiny transverse cracks on the belly of the bow. The most visible sign of poor tiller is when one limb bends noticeably more than the other, something that becomes easy to see once the bow is strung. It's also worth mentioning that more aggressive designs, such as recurves or flight bows, are often less durable due to higher internal stresses locked into the material. Another important factor that strongly influences a bow's durability is the material itself. High-quality wood makes better, longer-lasting bows. Any flaws in the wood, such as knots or twists, can also pose a risk. It takes skill to work with them so they don't become potential failure points in the bow. If you would like to learn more about different bows, I have made a video on this subject a few weeks ago. I have also 2 bow making ebooks with detailed instructions. You will find them at dreamcraftbows.com. Moving on to bow performance. How can we recognize a fast bow? The most accurate way is to measure it using a chronograph. But what features actually make a bow fast? There are several key factors, and one of the most important is the set of the bow. Set is a permanent change in the bow's shape, when the limbs begin to follow the string. A bow has no set when, after being unstrung, the limbs return to the original position from before tillering. In most cases, less set is better. The more set a bow has, the slower it becomes, as part of the energy is lost in permanently deformed limbs. When a bow doesn't handle stress inside the limbs well, it takes set, which also makes set a useful indicator of weak spots in the design or tiller. It's worth mentioning that bows with more set are often more pleasant and forgiving to shoot, but that's a different story. In my opinion, an acceptable amount of set is a few centimeters, around 2 to 3. That said, bows with more permanent string follow can still be very good bows. Another key factor affecting a bow's performance is mass distribution. We want the bow to be as light as possible, especially in the outer sections of the limbs, the tips. Why? The lighter the tips, the faster they return to their original position upon release, which directly affects the speed of the arrow. Moreover, the bows with excessive mass on the tips kick harder during release. They generate more hand shock. This is also why bows made from unseasoned wet wood feel slower and loose. When shaping the tips and removing material, it's important not to overdo it, so they don't become fragile, and to make sure the string grooves are properly reinforced. I would also like to mention a technique called heat treating, which improves a bow's performance by carefully hitting the belly. When done correctly, it can help prevent string fallow and boost the bow's speed. But again, that's a much broader topic in itself. And what about the accuracy of a bow? Obviously, it depends largely on the archer's form and consistency, but also on how well the arrows fit the bow and their spine. But when it comes to the bow, here we need to talk about string alignment. The bowstring must cross the center of the bow, right in the middle of the handle. Any misalignment will affect the flight of the arrow. If the misalignment is caused by twisted or crooked tips, the problem can worsen over time. The good news is that this is relatively easy to check. You just have to look at the strung weapon from tip to tip and see how the string lies. A handle that is too wide can also cause similar issues. In such cases, the string can be aligned slightly toward the side of the handle where the arrow will be released. Unstable designs and poorly balanced bows can lead to the lack of repeatability. If a bow is uncomfortable to shoot, it becomes harder for the archer to maintain consistent form, which increases the risk of inaccurate shots. This can happen if the draw weight is too high, the draw leg doesn't fit the archer, or the handle is not ergonomically shaped. The most obvious threat to all the features we've discussed is visible damage to the bow. I don't think I need to explain why this should be avoided, but if you are examining a bow, it's the first thing you should check. So that's a brief overview of the topic. It's much more extensive, but I think I've covered the most important points here. So thank you for watching, leave a comment and let me know what you think. See you next time.